Welcome back to the Bluffton News. I'm Daniela Squicero, and with me now is County Councilman Mike Covert. Councilman, good morning.
Good morning.
Great to see you.
You too.
We are back in the Bluffton Property Lounge of Engel and Volkers, and today we are going to be talking about county news. What's going on? There's always something. So first tell us, how long have you been involved in your capacity at the county?
I was elected and took office in January of this year.
Okay.
January 3rd.
Okay. And since then, tell us a little bit about what's news. What's new?
There are a lot of things going on. I mean, we just probably the latest thing is that our county administrator retired early due to some family issues. So we're in the process of whittling the list down, if you will, of people who have applied for that position. Deputy Administrator Josh Gruber has been hired as the interim administrator. Okay. So that process is going on. And, we have the well talked about bag ban charrettes going on around the county.
Oh, yes. I think we've all been kind of following that.
Yeah, there's, from that to the Jasper Ocean Terminal, the roads, some possible tax referendums coming up. So, I mean, if you throw a dart at it, we're probably talking about it.
Absolutely, I'm sure. Lots of meetings going on. So tell us, what does a typical day look like for you? Is there a typical day? No, there is no typical day. Fortunately, I've got a lot of good folks that work for me at Covert Air, and so they get that ball rolling and keep it rolling. I usually start out the day at the house, do some work in my home office, and from there I either go to Covert Air or one of the many either committee meetings, meetings with other counties or municipalities and their officials. So there's a lot of cross-county conversation as well then.
Yeah, we do. Matter of fact, that's one of the big things that we started to push this year. Not to toot my own horn, but myself and Bluffton Town Councilman Fred Hamilton reinvigorated and put together a group of regionalism like-minded thinking. So that's going on, and I try to end the day or at some point at the office and just let them know that I'm still alive. And but usually every evening there's something with the county going on, and July and August we kind of take a little break so I can spend it in the pool.
Absolutely.
And then right now we're right back at it.
Okay, you just mentioned regionalism, and that's actually a word that probably in large part thanks to you and the work that you're doing, we've heard floating around a lot. Give us a little bit of an idea of what do you mean when you say that, regionalism? When you look at the word regionalism and what it means to this community, means that what's good for Beaufort County is also good for Jasper County, Hampton County, and other places, as well as you can drill that down to what's good for St. Helena Island is also good for Hilton Head Island. And you've got to get out of the mindset of, this is my zone, this is my circle, and I'm only going to be in this circle, and nothing else outside of it affects me. We have to get outside of that mindset, and for far too long, many people have lived in that. So, I find it interesting when you work with people of either a different town, county, and sometimes state. You actually learn some things, and that's the neat thing that I spoke to another council person who lives in a very rural area, and I asked him that I'd like to come spend a Sunday afternoon and sip sweet tea on their porch, and they looked at me like, why in the world do you want to do that? And I said, because we don't smell wild things growing. We don't hear horses. And all that kind of stuff. We don't have farms where I live. And he said, well, that's interesting. And I said, well, at the same time, I'd like for you to come spend a Saturday with me between the hours of like 10 and 4, May through September. And that kind of got the chuckle on. But the point of that was, we all need to know what we all go through, even though we don't live through it every day, because it does affect us one way or the other. Absolutely. And the more of those, I think, the more of those connections you can create amongst people,
it seems to me that that's where you get that familiarity. You build that sort of camaraderie, and then that feeds into being more willing and interested in working together. Isn't that right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay. Very
Absolutely.
good. So you mentioned the port,
Mm-hmm.
which is a huge project. It
Mm-hmm.
is a mammoth project, and over many, many years. Can you tell us a little bit about first of all, what's planned for that and where we are in that process as of right now?
Well, the Jasper Ocean Terminal itself is going through the permitting stages. That process has very little to do with us, on my level.
Sure.
That's way outside of my pay
Sure.
grade. But it's going through the permitting process and the Army Corps of Engineers and all of that. In the meantime, some of the other things that are precursors that are leading up to that. Matter of fact, just one that finished recently was the repaving of Route 17 from, I believe it's Speedway Boulevard in Hardeeville to the state line.
And it looks much better.
Much better, much easier on the shocks. So that's been done, and that was done to lead up to the new Back River Bridge that will happen next year, which is a precursor that will lead up to the spur from the new Exit 3 that'll head out towards the river port, as well as some railway extensions. There'll be a railway spur, as they call it. All those things logistically have to happen. You can't do them all at once.
Yes.
And those infrastructure items will lead up to the actual port. When will they start, put the first shovel in the ground? Nobody could say that right now. But it is, the former Governor Haley was very emphatic that she wanted this fast-tracked. And the legislature now, I believe, still feels the same way. I certainly do. That we need to not dilly-dally with this port. We need, this is serious, and we need to keep going.
So quickly, what that's more on the Jasper side, but like you said, there's a lot of sort of working amongst counties. A project like that, what kind of effect would that and will that have on Beaufort County?
Well, while the project, sits in Jasper County, Beaufort County has just as much involvement with what's going on as anybody. We're talking about the overall effect, which is not contained to any one county or even any one region. We're talking about a million jobs that this port will reach and touch. So that alone has staggering cause and effect. Land in the Levy area in Pritchardville, at least from my untrained eye, is starting to, or has been, rising in value.
And I can tell you that from my trained eye.
There you go. I'm sure property values themselves will start to see they're increasing anyway.
They are.
That's only going to help. Beaufort County is, what are we doing because of that is really infrastructure related. We have, from things that people wouldn't even dream of, the bridges to Hilton Head. One of them has lived its lifespan, the other one needs to be replaced. Well, there's an effect of the port that will happen to that, along with many other things, such as the Bluffton flyover, and the list goes on and on. So while some people say, gosh, you guys just throw darts at stuff and whatever sticks is what you do, that's not really true. That port has an effect on Hilton Head based on, you got to get those people over there in a safe manner. Our infrastructure in the Pritchardville area, the schools are going to feel an incredible impact from that port. So,
and they already are. So we're talking about on top of that.
Absolutely. So I think it's all good. This port will see, you hear that already, that Savannah, Georgia Ports Authority is, the biggest ship ever and all that.
Right.
There are still these, I think they're called Panamax, Supermax ships, upwards of between 15 and 20,000 TEU, which is just a measurement of containers. The largest in the world that they had to remake the Panama Canal for these ships. Jasper Ocean Terminal will host those. There'll be more containers, more TEUs going through Jasper than Savannah, Georgia Ports Authority, and Charleston combined.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Well, we look forward to seeing what is happening with that, as well as everything that you're doing at the council.
Thank you.
Councilman Covert, thank you so much for joining
Thank
me
you.
today.
Absolutely.
Wonderful to see you.
So,
Thank you for joining us today on this very special edition of Bluffton News. I'm your host, Daniela Squiccaro. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at WHHI-TV. We'll see you around Bluffton.